In today's Leeds news, Rabbi Matondo not a Leeds target, transfer roundup, under-21s in action, Farke backs Marathe, and interest in Ampadu. Morning folks, Jer here, Friday morning the 16th of August with your Leeds United news. 2 weeks to go in the transfer window. It closes Friday 2 weeks and Leeds have a lot of work to do, but Daniel Farke yesterday in his press conference moved to reassure fans that Leeds would get the targets that they want in. We've got some information around his backing of Parag Marathe as well as some interest in other players, and then dispelling a couple of rumours and transfers that Leeds have been linked with in today's news as we wrap up the news of the week. We will have the match day preview tonight at 7 p.m. It'll be myself on my own tonight. Stats is unwell, so get well soon, mate. Also, if you were interested in the Yorkshire area, I'll be on BBC West Yorkshire at 6:10 this evening to talk about the Georginio Rutter situation, Leeds' current summer plans, and look ahead to the West Brom game. You can check that out on BBC West Yorkshire if you want at 6:10 tonight. Right, let's crack on and get on with the news, and we'll start off with the Rabbi Matondo link that popped up yesterday. Football Insider ran a article as an exclusive along with some aggregate sites that stated that Leeds United were interested in Rangers winger and former Manchester City under-21 winger Rabbi Matondo. Matando is a young, exciting player, but the link did raise some eyebrows as it wouldn't be described as an ambitious signing that Daniel Farke said Leeds were interested in. But we have some clarity on the situation now. Joe Donoghue from the Yorkshire Evening Post has put a piece out this morning that states that Leeds United are not looking at signing Rabbi Matondo from Rangers, despite reports Leeds do not have an interest in that particular winger. FootballScotland.co.uk claimed initially that Leeds had interest in the player and would be making a move before Football Insider ran an exclusive that stated that Leeds would be making a move for the player, and that has now turned out to be a false claim today. There is no truth to the link between Leeds United and Rangers winger Rabbi Matondo, at least as of right now. He doesn't fit the profile for me that Leeds are looking for. Decent season in Scotland, but very much not an ambitious target, as Daniel Farke said Leeds are trying to attract in the last 2 weeks of the window. Moving into some transfer wrap-up rumours. Some of these are funny. They just are. Just wanted to put a couple of these in today. It's a slow news day. We'll start off with Raksaki. Who thought we'd hear that name again? I bet everyone thought we were finished with Raksaki stuff. Well, this one has kind of made me chuckle a little bit. It's popped back up. Alan Nixon via Team Talk, which is an incredible combination of two sides that don't get a huge amount of stuff right when it relates to Leeds United. They both claim that there was a hiccup in the negotiations between Sheffield United and Jesper Raksaki, and that has opened the window for Leeds United to swoop in and make a loan move for the player, a loan move that Leeds have already said 2 weeks ago they won't be doing because they won't guarantee any player any minutes. Players have to work to get in. Maybe the exit of Somerville and Georginio Rutter would make Raksaki look at it and go, well, yeah, I'll get into that team. But it seems to me very unlikely he's expected to sign for Sheffield United. But I just thought it was interesting this morning that they reckon the player who was pictured in Sheffield United's cup game during the week could now possibly be back on the radar for Leeds United. You never know. Stranger things have happened, but I thought it was a strange one. The Jonathan Rowe situation has gone very, very quiet, but according to Team Talk, again, so pinch of salt, they claim that Marseille have had a second bid for the player rejected. Now, they're the only site that are saying a second bid for Marseille went in. They claim it is now a loan offer from Marseille with a £1.7 million fee up front, and then an option to buy the player at the end of the year for a £12 million option. They also claim that this offer has been rejected by Norwich City. Norwich have brought in money from Sarah, but they've also brought in money from Adam Ida recently as well, so they might not be in a push to sell right now. I personally am starting to think that Jonathan Rowe is not a target for Leeds United. The fact that there has been no official offer gone in for the player is starting to make me feel that maybe the names that we're hearing from journalists around the place are not actually the names that Leeds have been linked with. I've seen Sammy Smolak signed for Ipswich this morning. Some people are annoyed and think Leeds have missed out. Reports would claim that Leeds United have made no offer and no interest in Sammy Smolak from very early on in the window. Leeds did not see him as a player that they wanted on their shortlist. So at the moment, it's starting to look like if there are players that Leeds are going to bring in the next 2 weeks, they might not be the ones we've been linked with, and they might be a couple of surprises for some people. But as of right now, nothing on Jonathan Rowe. Marseille apparently have had a second bid rejected, and Raksaki due to go to Sheffield United, but apparently there's a hiccup and Leeds could step in. But, you know. Believe what you want, I suppose, at this stage. Moving on to the under-21s, they are back in action in the Premier League 2, kicks off its campaign tonight, and Leeds will travel to the Bet365 Stadium to play Stoke City with a 7pm kickoff in that game. Unfortunately, that game will not be televised on LUTV, and this is due to TV rights restrictions in the UK. What it basically means is there's a Premier League game being televised on Sky Sports, so therefore nobody else is allowed to show any football on their own channels, which seems bizarre that a Leeds United Stoke under-21 game might take a crowd or an audience away from a live televised Premier League game. But them's the rules, I suppose. Them's the rules. But that's that one. Anyway, you can check that out, the results over the weekend. We will be covering under-21s and under-18s throughout the season as well. And we'll have Jerry McDermott on a couple of times during the year as well to talk about what's going on in the youth setup at Leeds United as well. And then moving on to the press conference yesterday, Daniel Farke made moves to back Parag Marathe in the light of the Georginio Rutter exit from Leeds United. During yesterday's press conference, Farke said that Leeds expects Georginio Rutter to complete his move to Brighton and Hove Albion for £40 million within the next 48 hours. The player had been at Thorpe Arch yesterday and had said his goodbyes in an emotional scene. But Farke says Leeds did everything they could to try and keep the player. It should also be pointed out Hoffenheim apparently rumoured will receive £4.2 million in a sell-on fee for the player as well. So that's yet to be confirmed, but that's the number that's out there at the moment. Farke said that the club tried to do everything within their power to keep the player. It does seem like Leeds have offered him a new contract, but it does feel like Leeds have offered him that contract very late in the window, and this possibly could have been done earlier on in the summer in order to make sure that Leeds could keep a massive asset for the club. Once the first and second bid came in, you would have imagined Leeds would have moved then to tie the player down, but that wasn't the case, and Georginio will move on. Adam Pope asked a really strong question during the press conference. He basically posed a question that stated that the comments made by Parag Marathe in May when he said Leeds will be ready to go on day one are false now, because Leeds are not ready and day one is past. Daniel Farke moved to back Marathe and said that he believes in what Marathe has said 100%. He believes Leeds will be ambitious in the remaining 2 weeks of the transfer window. And he says no one is more ambitious than the chairman. He also basically called out the positions that he wants. Farke has publicly now said on a few occasions he wants a cover for left back, a central midfielder, and now he wants replacements for Chris Somerville and Georginio Rutter, with the comments he made yesterday about Rutter being a player who can get both goals and assists and is ready to go right now. It's a high profile of player that could be difficult to get in without spending some cash on this one. But he did say that he believes that Leeds and Marathe will be ambitious in the remaining 2 weeks of this window. It's an interesting move from Farke because this does a couple of things. And Farke has basically put a huge amount of faith in Parag Marathe to deliver on what he wants. And if that doesn't happen and if that faith isn't repaid, that will cause a public disagreement between the management and the ownership of the club, when the manager has publicly said he wants this and then it's not delivered. But if it is delivered, then we're in for a very interesting remaining 2 weeks, and it will put all of the pressure back on Daniel Farke to deliver results on the pitch after getting signings that he wanted in. Either way, it's going to be a very interesting and should be a very busy week in the next 2 weeks, I should say. And as Lockie said yesterday on the press in the podcast, Leeds will need to sign a player every 3 days at this rate. But they did do it last year. They did bring in 4 players in 6 days last year, so it can be done. But Leeds are looking for a higher profile of player, I think, than they were looking at last year. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Then in some other news that came out of the press conference, in some past remarkable comments that have been picked up, is Daniel Farke was asked about the exit clauses that players might have, and can he ease any of the fans' frustration and worries that other players might have these exit clauses. He decided to not want to put that information out into the public sphere, but in doing so he did let a couple of things slip, specifically around one player. Farke said that Leeds United have fielded inquiries and have rejected several bids from several clubs for Leeds players over the course of this summer, and have had significant interest in their players over the summer. Specifically, Farke said that the club have knocked back Premier League interest in new club captain Ethan Ampadu. Ampadu is having a shaky enough start to this season after a really impressive debut season for Leeds United last year. He's an important part of Daniel Farke's system and how he plays, and Leeds can't afford to lose any more key players at this point in the transfer window. if a loss of Ampadu would signal major issues, you would imagine, for Leeds United at this point. But Daniel Farke has moved to assure people that Ampadu is not for sale and that several other players aren't for sale. Willie Gnonto was confirmed yesterday as not having any exit clause in his contract, but I think we knew that from last summer anyway, but that has been confirmed. As I said, I'll be back tonight at 7 p.m. for the matchday preview, and if you're listening to West Yorkshire Sport, 6 with Catherine Hannah on BBC West Yorkshire tonight as well. You can check that out if you want to. And I'll be back tomorrow for countdown to kick-off, 45 minutes before the kick-off against West Brom tomorrow, and I will talk to you then. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. Fingers crossed for 3 points. Talk to you later.